So we're from the Philadelphia area, and our daughter Tory is now 17 years old, and she's sustained 3 serious concussions in her life. The first one being when she was 12 years old. After seeking to get her better and there's things falling short, we found Dr. Ellis, and it has been an absolute lifesaver for her. And we're going to let Tory talk about her experience and how she felt before we came here, during her time, and now today.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tory. I'm 17. I'm going into my senior year of high school, so it's very exciting. And probably wouldn't even be graduating if it wasn't for the help that I received here and the progress that I made in my life. Like, my first concussion was a few weeks into my 7th grade year, and after that I wasn't in school until for 5 weeks. 5 weeks, and then I came back in small increments, like 1 class a day, then built to 2 class a days and half days, and by the time that it came back to full days, but during the full days I had breaks in the nurse's office, so I really wasn't going through a full school day even though I was there the whole time school was in session. It came too much. I was getting so much worse, and I was pulled out of school and I started cyber school, and that was my first experience with cyber school. I finished out the school year that year with cyber school, and then I went back to school for 8th grade, and things were going okay. School was really, really hard. Just because of all the different symptoms I was still having that never were treated properly and that never healed or cleared up. And then in the spring, right before my birthday in 8th grade, I had my 2nd concussion, and things again got very much worse. And that summer going into high school was really, really hard. And I also that summer dealt with a bunch of suicidal tendencies and depression and anxiety, and that was its own uphill battle during this whole time. And going into my freshman year, I was still struggling with all the physical and cognitive symptoms from my first 2 concussions that were never healed or treated, but I also was going to very intensive therapy at the same time, which was exhausting mentally, emotionally, and even physically, because I would go from school all day to 2 hours of therapy at night, and I'd still have to go home and do homework. And I was dealing with all this. It might not seem like much to some people because there's kids that go to school and then they have practice for whatever sport they play, or if they're involved in music, they have hours of rehearsals after school, and it might not seem like a lot, but I could barely make it through a full day of school at that time, so it was extremely, extremely difficult. And then in March of my freshman year, I got my 3rd concussion, and after that was when we decided to come down here to Atlanta. Before we came here, like I'd go to school and then that's it. Like, I wasn't feeling up for anything else. Like, I wouldn't leave my house. I wouldn't even leave my room. I would just kind of stay home all the time. I was isolated. I didn't really talk to that many people, not that many friends, because like they just kind of didn't understand like what was going on, and I didn't understand what was going on. So it was kind of hard to like voice that to them, like, hey, like this is what I'm dealing with, when I didn't even know what I was dealing with. I just knew that I had concussions, my head was messed up, and I just didn't know how to deal with that, other than I was really not feeling good all the time. But my vision was blurred and doubled, so like this far in front of my face I couldn't see anything past that point. I was nauseous all the time. I went through the big periods where I barely ate anything for weeks because I was so nauseous. I got tired extremely easily. I wasn't sleeping at nights. I was extremely irritable. Very irritable, which is also understandable because of the way I was feeling. And is there anything else I can't think of?
You only got sick, you got strep throat.
Yeah, I would get sick a lot. My immune system was shot. I would get sick and I would stay sick for weeks at a time. So things that we did here, I was doing a lot of vision exercises, which is very similar to things that I was doing with my doctors back home after the 1st and 2nd concussions. But it was different in a sense that he didn't just throw it at me and say like, this is what you need to do. And when I would do it before I came here, I'd get so tired so easily that there wasn't any improvements because there was no retraining my brain how to do it properly. It was just do it and do the best you can, and like that's it, and keep doing it. And it just keep continually doing that would make me even more exhausted, and there was no progress. So we just took it little by little, and it went from a simple like turning your head once, bringing your thumb across my eyes once and like you're done. And then we could build on that. Once I could finally do that again, then I could do other things better too. So we did a lot of vision exercises. I did a lot of, I called it the 9-volt battery. I got zapped on my tongue a lot, which was really cool, and it tasted like metal and rubbing alcohol, but so I did that. I did a lot of things, just laying down. I would lay down and he would just adjust my neck a little bit here and there, and it was just a lot of days of really slow and simple things, but over time that is what made me better, and we could grow on that. And by the time in my last couple of trips, I was doing so much during the days that I would just go home and fall asleep, because I went from barely doing anything in a day, because we first had to retrain my brain to be able to do the little things, and then we build it on the bigger things. Now I'm back to school, like I said. I'm going into my senior year. I'm very involved at school, which is awesome. I have so many great friendships that I've built since returning to school and being able to stay in school. And other different normal teenage things like driving and having a job, like things that were not even like on my radar before we came here. Like all I was thinking about was like easy things like going out of the house, getting back to school. So like just little things that are a part of the everyday life of a teenager that were not before are now a part of my life. And it might not seem like a lot, but considering where I came from, like just to be able to do those things is really, really awesome. So.